My name is Doug McKain, and we were supposed to see a top 5 defense, and it was supposed to be the Texans, but it was the Rams defense that saved the day.
And I'm Rams former defensive tackle Mike Brockers, and we got a landman peanut punch to win the game.
And I'm Gavin Carlson, and hey, 1-0, I don't care how you do it. It feels so freaking good. Let's go.
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? Mob Squad, baby. What is going on, Ramley? Welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show, the first regular season post-game live reaction edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We've got the Mob Squad with you, breaking down a thrilling 14-9 win for our Rams over the Houston Texans. Absolutely crazy game. Let's not waste any time. Shout out to everybody in here. For those who are watching us for the first time, because it is week one, we're not doing that preseason jazz anymore. This is the real deal. The way this is going to work, it's 1 full hour of the three of us. It's me, but more importantly, it's the man to the right of me on the screen, former Rams legend, Big Mike Brockers in the building. How you feeling after that week one win, baby?
Man, I'm eating W's. I'm eating W's, man. Jameis Winston style, man. So I'm feeling real good.
Yes, sir. The vibes are high. The vibes are high. D-Mac, Doug McKain, the legend that he is in the LA sports media scene. How you feeling, brother?
Unclench those butt cheeks. That's all I got to say, because that was a nail biter. That was a tight one. I was watching second screen the Niners game, and I was like, the last thing I want is the Niners to squeak away with the win and the Rams to lose one late. I was sweating bullets. I was just ready to fire off some nasty tweets about Colby Parkinson, and it's all good. Like Brock said, eating those dubs, a win's a win, and we can all celebrate.
A win is a win. And yeah, I mean, this was a very fun week one in the NFL. A lot of close games. I mean, you're going to get the blowouts. You always are, but a bunch of games coming down to the last couple of plays. And of course, this one, no different. There was many times it felt like the Rams could have pulled away and they didn't, but the defense came through drive after drive. And of course, that's where we have to start, is how the Rams win this football game. It looks like the Texans are going to take advantage of that Colby Parkinson fumble. It looks like they're going to march down the field and steal one. This would have been a game that would have hurt, right? As much as we tried to talk about maybe week one not being a must-win game or anything like that at all, this would have stung if the Texans marched down the field and waited until the final minute of the ball game to score their only touchdown. But no. Landman comes through with the peanut punch, and Brock was saying it before we went live about Landman and Dolak and just what this Rams organization does. Speak your truth, Brock. Cook right now. Let's hear it.
Man, yeah, I didn't like all the hate that the Rams get for picking players that aren't the prototypical player that you feel like you should go after. It was a lot of flack that the Rams organization gets because they're like, oh man, who is Dolak? Who is Landman? Why is he running with the first team defense? Like, what are the Rams doing? And then you see those two guys show up on tape on this Sunday to help the team win the game. Let's be real. They showed up and gave the opportunity for the Rams to win today. And I was just happy for the organization. I was happy for those two players, for them to be what you would say no-name guys to come out and help this organization win. I just love it.
Yeah, it felt like a game full of a bunch of guys you didn't really expect to, steal the spotlight, and they were the ones that got it done, both offensively and defensively. Not only Landman, but of course Durant with an unbelievable interception. It looked like we had a interception taken off the board as well by maybe not one of the frontliners of this defensive secondary as well. Just a team win. Kind of felt like the defense bailed out the offense at times. But D-Mac, I'm curious, when, like you said, when you're getting ready to fire off those tweets and rip into Colby Parkinson after the fumble, at the same time, were you confident that this Rams defense was going to get that stop there on the final drive, or what was the confidence level going into that?
Well, I think this Rams defense has been really solid the last couple of years, but they haven't led the league in turnovers caused. And I think this game you saw the Kobe Durant interception, and then late Nate Landman I mean, he stepped up and saved the day. I mean, they were marching towards a game-winning touchdown. They were going to steal a victory. And instead, this Rams defense, they hold this Texans offense to 0 points in a second half shutout. They were fantastic. Lamb in 10 tackles, 1 QB hit, 1 forced fumble. Byron Young had a big day. I think as far as the confidence goes, was I confident? I thought that possibly it was gonna come down to something. They had to make a special play, and they made a special play. And I think that could be what elevates this defense from the one we saw last season. Is last season they were good, they got pressure, but didn't cause many turnovers. This year, I think you combine that with the pressure, the tackling ability, and getting turnovers in big spots. So yeah, I felt a little confident. I mean, hey, Landman, that's what he does. Like, this is nothing new. He is third for off-ball linebackers when it comes to causing turnovers in the last 2 seasons. I mean, that's what they call him. Like Brock, they call him the peanut puncher, right? Like his nickname in practice. So, I mean, I'm always nervous, but in that moment, I really felt good about this defense. They do play with a quiet confidence. Like they feel like something's about to happen, and it did.
Yeah, and you talked about the interception. You talked about maybe the confidence and how they were limiting the Texans all game. If you remember, on the preview show, I was saying the scenario where the Texans win the game, in my opinion, is a game where Nico Collins goes crazy. And he was very quiet in this ball game, right? 3 catches for 25 yards on 5 targets. But still, on that last drive, I'm sitting there going, I just have a feeling Nico Collins is going to make I'm Nico Collins, I am one of the best receivers in the NFL play, right? I was terrified of it, right? CJ Stroud had a couple plays in this game where he was eluding pressure. I thought the D-line was good, maybe not great, right? But getting pressure, forcing him to move around. But again, you talked about a D-Max, CJ Stroud, one of the most talented quarterbacks in this league, and Nico Collins, the same at his position. There, I definitely was fearful that you were going to have a classic CJ Stroud escape, be on the sideline, throw one deep or something. Nico Collins gets behind the secondary. But this was a physical secondary performance, I thought, in my opinion. I thought there was a lot of grabbing, a lot of holding. It was a chippy game at times too. But there was a confidence from the guys on the field, and it's hard not to feel that as a fan watching the game, seeing the way the secondary is carrying themselves. So it certainly was a great sign when you needed this defense to win this ball game, and they absolutely stepped up. I mean, I'm curious. We talked about the offensive line, Brock, for the Texans, all the new faces, the Rams defensive line being the strength, right? Were you underwhelmed? Kind of, is it what you expected in terms of the defensive line and what they were able to do against this offensive line and against CJ Stroud?
I'm gonna be honest with you. To me personally, I felt like because you had so many guys it was a new offensive line for the Texans. You had a rookie starting on the right side. I just felt like I feel like they should have took more advantage of that. I didn't Jed versus a lot of pressures, things like that, but I just didn't feel his impact of the game. So for me, I thought it was reverse of what I said before on last week's show, where I thought the Rams were going to take advantage. I thought the Texans D-line took advantage of the Rams. You've seen Will Anderson, you've seen Rankins, you've seen a lot of those guys making plays today. So for me, it was a little bit of an underwhelming performance for me from the Rams D-line. But I mean, I understand it's the first game. Everybody's getting their jitters out and things like that. But do I feel like they did a great job? I seen some plays where Kobe Turner was holding his gap. Brandon Fitz also holding his gap. I just think that the defense needs to work together in some points, where the linebackers need to fill into the B gaps and things like that. So for me, it's first game jitters. Let's get them out. I think from this point on, you'll see a better Rams defense. But this was a little underwhelming performance for me from the D-line.
Yeah, I think, too, it's like the defense, they gave 114 yards rushing. That's not great. You finished with 3 sacks and a forced fumble. I think there definitely was a marked improvement in stopping the run game, but they definitely do look like a work in progress. And I agree with Brock, too. I was expecting them to get to the quarterback a little more. That roughing call against Stroud late was straight up bogus. I mean, what did he do? Like, breathe in the same stadium as Stroud so he gets the call there? I mean, that guy should not be allowed to ref Rams games. I mean, he has a history making some pretty sketchy calls. But yeah, I do think overall it wasn't the Jared Verse show. But what I do like, though, is the fact that like Byron Young had a really, really good game. Byron Young ended up with 9 tackles, a sack, 2 QB hits, And we know that Verse is going to come alive. We know Fisk, who made a great recovery on the Landman. He was out there looking like Superman getting on that football. So I like how you had other guys come through, and it was nice to see Akello and Emmanuel Forbes, Kobe Durant. I think Kobe Durant getting an interception in his first game when there's a lot of questions about the cornerback play, I think is going to be massive as well, because that's going to be a position that is going to be the difference between this being a good to great to elite defense. So, yeah, I mean, look, it was the first game out, though. I mean, it's tough to complain about a second half shutout, though, right? Against a team with Nico Collins, CJ Stroud, and the weapons that they have. Yeah,
it's tough to complain about a second half shutout. It's tough to complain about a game where you don't give up a touchdown, right? Like, does the red zone, ability to keep the Texans out of the end zone was very impressive. I think the main thing for me is the standards of this defense are pretty high. If we're saying 3 sacks, 5 TFLs overall is underwhelming, right? And if you could tell me coming into the ball game that we're going to be maybe underwhelmed by the defensive line or front seven performance, underwhelmed by the offensive performance, which we'll get into, and yet the Rams are going to win the football game, you're going to be like, you'll take that every time. And not to mention, looking forward the rest of the season, we know the offense is going to get better. Matthew Stafford wasn't practicing all offseason, and that front seven is not suddenly untalented, right? So the position or the area of the field that we are concerned about was the strength of the Rams today in the secondary, and that certainly bodes well for the rest of the season. Not only did Durant have an interception, it was an unbelievable interception. Maybe got a little bit lucky. That ball might have touched the ground. I don't know, but we'll take it. And then again, that BS roughing the passing call, like you're talking about, D-Mac, it took away what, might have been a Cam Kinchens interception. He was right on the sideline. They didn't really have a second or third review of it because they were talking about the penalty, but that would have been a 2 interception game against CJ Stroud when the weakness is supposed to be the secondary. And again, Jaden Higgins, 2 for 32. Xavier Hutchinson, 2 for 30. Dalton Schultz, 3 for 28. Justin Watson, 227. You have to go all the way to 5th to get to Nico Collins, 3 for 25. So very proud of the secondary with the performance there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm Brock. I mean, you have to probably think this too, right? I mean, I know you've been on teams where sometimes the defense has to step up while the offense is figuring things out. And when you put things into perspective, you realize that Matthew Stafford and a lot of his group, they didn't play in preseason games together. Guys were injured. Sean McVay's philosophy of not utilizing preseason games, you get the joint practices and things like that. But I think for the first time of in-game action, I like the fact that, Jordan Whittington made some plays that were negated by some penalties. Xavier Smith had the really nice big play in the third quarter. Davis Allen gets the first touchdown pass. Who had that on their Rams 2025 season bingo card, right? So I think that their roster looks a little bit deeper. And I think that the defense, I think Sean McVay knows, hey, like, we're going to figure things out offensively. Puka looked fantastic. Devontae Adams had 51 yards, 4 catches on 8 targets. That's going to be the floor game for Devontae Adams. And you're going to get this running game going a little more. So it's almost like, hey, when your offense is struggling, when the bats aren't hitting on offense, the pitchers step up and they pitch a shutout, right? That kind of felt like what the defense did. And I'm sure that, Brock, you probably take a lot of pride in your defense. Like, hey, we got this today, right?
For sure. As I was telling Gavin before the live, it's always like that in the league. The defense always has that little subtle advantage at the beginning of the season because offenses they're built on timing, they're built on continuity, between the quarterback and receivers and things like that. So when you have at the beginning of the season, usually the defense always has that little advantage because it's more react, it's more of an attack react type of deal. It's like see ball, get ball, man. As long as whoever has the ball, let's tackle him, make sure he doesn't get a touchdown, right? So for me, it was more of, hey, the defense did a great job today. And like you said, Gavin, for us to be saying like, hey, a 3-sack game, under 100 yards, they didn't score a touchdown, we have high expectations for this team, right? Like it's like almost overwhelming expectations for this team. But for me, man, I just love to see that impact of the defensive line. I love to see the tackles for loss. I love to see everybody having a great day, not just Byron Young. I want to see the D tackles eat. I want to see everybody eat. So for me, as a defensive lineman for this team before that was a defensive line led team, I wanted to see more of an impact. But I mean, the Rams did a great job today. Like you said, Gavin, Doug, the secondary for me, to go out there and pretty much shut down Nico Collins and And this throwing game, this passing game, everybody had under 50 yards, things like that. Like they did a hell of a job today, man. They did a great job holding this team at bay. Yes, they did move the ball, but, at the end of the day, did they score and did they get the important points and know that, when they were in the red zone, they shut that team down. So for me, it's a great job for the Rams today, and they will get better, and that's the scary part.
Amen. That is the scary part. When we get back, we're going to take our break right now. We have to talk about the offense because while maybe on the scoreboard you only see 14 points, there were moments where you're like Brock just hinted at, this team is going to be scary. But it also does feel like there's a bit of a change in the identity of the Rams, where if you maybe were in denial last season about the identity or the face of this team being the defense, certainly you have to warm up to that being the idea now. We'll talk about that. Matthew Stafford looking pretty healthy and a whole lot more after our break here on a victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, on this victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show, today it is brought to you by PrizePicks. It's a daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right means cashing in. With football back, PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. Like I always say, I love trying to predict how a game is going to go in terms of, is one team going to be leading? Therefore, they'll be running the ball more, trying to run clock, while the team behind might be throwing the football more, which could mean more passing yards. It could also mean maybe throwing an interception or two, right? So using that's how I like to make my slip, but I'm really curious how you guys like to make yours. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Back here live on a victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We had Mike Brock at the beginning eating W's because the Rams are 1-0, a thrilling 14-9 win over the Texans. Rarely you say thrilling when the combined total is 23 points, right? It was a defensive slugfest, but we had acrobatic interceptions. We had 2 fumbles on the last 2 drives of the ball game, and we had a nail-biting, or as D-Mac called it, what'd you say, a cheeks clenching? A cheeks clenching victory. You wouldn't want it any other way, though, in week 1. And it's ironic. We said in the preview that maybe we wanted to not be a stressful game.
I started to cut you off. Like, I'm down with, 20-point chill victories. You know what I'm saying? I like that. Like, save this kind of stuff for the playoffs. You know what I mean?
I agree, but it's one of those things where after the fact, because we won, then I can say, hey, I like that it was stressful because we won. It's like a roller coaster. Like, you want the fear factor, but only once you know that the ride is over and you can say it was fun. Coming into it, certainly, and experiencing it, it was very, very stressful. But we won the game. And it was still largely because of the defense, but certainly at times because of the offense, right? They did just enough in this game. And we talked about the slow start. Brock talked about the defense having an advantage. We saw it early on. Punts on the first 3 drives of the ball game for the Rams. Long drives from the Texans where the Rams don't even have their second drive until into the second quarter, right? It was a very slow start to this ball game. A 3-and-out midway through the second when the Rams are down 3-0. Texans go up 6-0 with their second field goal. But then the first touchdown drive from the Rams. And it started with the run game. We had a nice deep pass to Puka Nacua. Of course, he had an injury. He came back in. It felt like Puka was still the focal point, D-Mac.
Yeah, absolutely. He totally was. 10 catches for 130 yards. He looks like he's a little leaner, but still as mean and still as physical. It looks like he's just kind of getting off the line, learning some stuff from Devontae Adams, how to win those 1-on-1. So kind of the point there is that as good as he's been his first couple of years, I still think the best is yet to come for Puka, and he still has a lot of ceiling left for him, and the confidence was there. I mean, I like the swag. He's always flexing out there after making big plays, and he's the dude who iced the game, right? I mean, even after the turnover, the Texans still had all their timeouts. So to get that gainer there, that was when the game was over. There's always a moment when you know the game is really over. 38, that 29-yard gain on 38, that ended the game. But like you mentioned, I mean, it did look sluggish early on. It was a slog. You punt your first 3 possessions. Then after the score, you're not able to capitalize twice after that. And the truth is, you can't turn the ball over late in the fourth quarter in a game like that. And then you also had a turnover, a holding call that halted the drive. So, yeah, I mean, the running game, 66 yards. That wasn't like a massive game for Kyron Williams either. So I think it's WIP, work in progress for this Rams offense, but still they made plays when they needed to for sure. And also, too, the biggest takeaway, number one takeaway for me is that Matthew Stafford's still dropping dimes. Like, he still can make all the throws. I think his prettiest pass was the Xavier Smith ball right there, the far sideline. I mean, he still can drop it in there. And as Brock pointed out, too, like, what'd you say, Brock? Like, they're running a sneak with him. Like, that's the ultimate sign that the back is just fine. Am I right?
Right, absolutely. And that's when I seen that, I was like, okay, yeah, his back is fine. You run a quarterback sneak with a guy who's been in the league 14 years or 15 years, whatever it is. You run a quarterback sneak and everybody's worried about his back. Like, yeah, my guy is a dog, you know? So for me, man, I agree with you, man. Hey, this receiving core with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, oh my God, it is nasty, bro. And then on top of that, you have one of the best offensive play callers in the game giving you mismatches. So it was a couple of times in the game, couple of seam beam. I call it seam beam when you just had like 4 verts and he just threw it to Puka Nacua down the seam because he's mismatched with a safety. And I'm like, this is crazy. How do you get him in a position where he's on a safety every time? Yeah. So for me, man, this offense is going to be nasty. If they can stay healthy, Puka Nacua being mismatched on different guys. On the last play, if you've seen, you know, he motioned all the way in and came through the B gap and ran that play action play. So for me, man, hey, you have one of the best play callers in the game with these weapons, bro. It's going to be a long season. Obviously, you know, Matthew Stafford wasn't in preseason. So, yeah, the offense was a little sluggish at the beginning. The timing wasn't there. But when they got it rolling, Their first touchdown of the game, it almost surprised me because he threw the ball so fast. I was like, who was open? Who was over there? All of a sudden, the ball just falls in his hand, touchdown. I'm like, oh, my gosh, he's on time right now. So, for me, man, I am highly excited about this Ram team in the future. If the X factor, them staying healthy is up to key.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you can also say too, Gavin, like you mentioned about Puka Nacua. That was a lot of talk. I think that these guys are going to complement each other, and they featured Devontae Adams at 8 targets. Did have a couple of drops early, but he really still looked really good out there. He didn't look like he's lost a step or that, as the kids say, he's washed or anything like that. I still think that he has the potential to be that top 10 to 15 guy. But having said that, this offense still runs through Puka Nacua. I mean, he was the number 1 target throughout the game. He had 11 targets compared to Devontae's 8. He had that game-sealing catch there. So you still got 8 targets for Adams, and I think that's going to grow, and we could see games where it's really even. But, I mean, I'm just so excited about the future of him. And I think Xavier Smith getting some run. I mean, you have a lot of different guys as targets, and I think that's – some people have criticized that about Matthew Stafford. He gets his guy, and just like, okay, locked on that guy. But for him to mix it around like that, I think that he can find multiple safety valves in this offense. I think that's the potential for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it will evolve, like you're saying. It absolutely will. But you can tell in 2 different aspects that Puka is the clear 1A, right? It's first and foremost on that touchdown drive, like we're saying. You have 3 straight punts. The offense is looking for a way to get things going. What do? Right? You run the ball for 5 to start the drive. But like we said, it's the 19-yarder to Puka. Couple plays, and then boom, it's 24 yards to Puka, right? Couple more plays, you have the QB sneak, and then eventually Kyron scores. So the fact that when you needed to get things going, it was Puka. And then, like you mentioned, Brock, when you need to seal the game, there's no one else that is going to get that ball on a 3rd down when you're trying to run the clock out than Puka, right? As sure-handed as Devontae is and will be despite the drops, he is the go-to both to get the offense going after it's struggling and to put the game on ice. Like you said, Doug, he's him. He's looking great. He had the freaking bandage on his eye, looking like a superhero out there. Just he's him. Matthew Stafford throwing the ball like 115 miles an hour to him in the middle of the field, and he's catching it like it's nothing. So it's hard not to be fired up. And certainly, like Stafford said, he said in the interview after the game, he's like, the first thing I did after is I went up to Devontae and said, we'll get better, right? And if you're the Niners, if you're the Seahawks, if you're the Cardinals, or you're the entire NFC, you look at it and you say, wait, Stafford just threw the ball 10 times to Puka, and he's talking about how he's going to get better with Devontae. Oh, crud. We're screwed, right?
Man, can I say this? Like, we can't lose sight of Devontae was going against one of the best corners in the game, if not the best corner in the game.
True.
And he was going one-on-one with the best corner in the game. And yes, he missed some, he dropped some passes early, but there were some back shoulder fades I seen. I was like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting on the best corner in the game, you know?
Right.
So let's not lose sight of that. Devontae was going against one of the best corners in the game, and you have one of the best play callers that's giving mismatches on anybody else. Anybody else that guards Puka Nacua besides the number one corner is a mismatch. And that's what we seen today. He was going against safeties. He was going against linebackers. I mean, that's always a mismatch. So for him, for this team, that's exciting to see that we have a play caller that can put his players in position to make plays. And that's what we seen today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fantastic point as far as you're going up against one of the best in the game, possibly the best in the game. And it wasn't, okay, the results are eye-popping, triple-digit type receiving yards and multiple touchdowns, but just eye test, seeing him go against some of the best, like he still moves like Devontae Adams of old. He's still getting in and out of breaks, the footwork, just how he looks out there, that's going to pay dividends. Maybe today, like I said, it wasn't a bad game by any means, right? It's a kind of a feeling out type of thing, right? Just they're kind of feeling each other out, building that chemistry, and now they actually have something to put on paper, to look at on film as a launching point between him and Matthew Stafford. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to criticize Cooper Kupp. Love me some Cooper Kupp till I die, right? But I was kind of second screen that 49ers game with the iPad, and there were a couple plays where Cooper Kupp, some drops, had like 3 targets, had 15 yards receiving. So my point is that's the upgrade there. You're literally going from Cooper Kupp last year as that second guy to Devontae Adams as that second guy with a better version of Puka Nacua. So that to me just tells the whole potential for this receiving core. So yeah, if someone just kind of waking up tomorrow, they read the box score and like, oh, Devontae Adams, he was all right. It doesn't tell the full story like you mentioned, Brock. But I gotta ask you, Brock, I really want to ask you a question here. Like, what's the etiquette here with what Colby Parkinson has to buy Nate Landman? Is it like a Cheesecake Factory gift card, Ruth's Chris? Like, does he got to get him a chain? Like, is he sending a Venmo request? I mean, like, what? Like, he's got to go to his locker and say something, right? He saved his.
Oh my God! Did you I'm watching the game and the camera keeps panning towards Parkinson and he has that towel around his neck. He's like biting his. He's like biting his nails, like, oh my gosh, I just lost us the game. And then Landman comes out with the peanut push to win. Oh, and I just know that took all the relief out of his body. I just know he probably went up to him after the game, like, man, you saved my job, you saved my career. Because after that fumble, you just never know with a guy like that. So for me, man, I would buy him something. I don't know what it is. I'll bring him lunch the next day, whatever. But he's getting something from me for getting that game won with the peanut push for sure.
No, I love that you pointed that out because that made the moment that was already intense, right? Game one, potentially game one drive. Like the director knew what he was doing. I didn't even think about that until now you bring it up. He was stressing, man. I was like, he's got the 5 o'clock shadow beard going. I was kind of like, all right, this already looks like his helmet off. Like it's the first time I even see his helmet off ever. You know what I mean? Like that's what he looks like. So yeah, it's funny you point that out.
Yeah, no, they always pan right to that guy who blew it on the previous drive. Like it'll be like, oh, they're measuring the third down to see if it was a first down. Let's still just pan to the guy and see what he's doing right now. Yep, he still looks scared, blankless, like he right. Like, and like you said, with all the tight end action in this game too, right, where you do have Davis Allen catch the touchdown, you do have, of course, Ferguson waiting there as well. I felt bad for him in the sense that I don't really know what he was supposed to do on that play. It wasn't like a hospital ball or anything, but it was kind of like hey, you caught it and you're immediately going to get drilled. And it was kind of a useless 1 or 2 yard completion. So I would have felt bad for him if it did, result in a loss. But thank goodness it didn't. Thank goodness it didn't. I also do
the Jamal Adams getting into the facility gifts, where it's walked out on Jamal Adams. It would have been like Colby Parkinson today. Like it would have been nasty, man. The fans are toxic, dude. You know what I'm saying? To be honest. And I love it, but it's just how it is.
Yep, they are. Absolutely. I do have to say also, when you brought up Stingley against Adams, great point, Brock. There was the penalty right before that beautiful touchdown to Allen where, Devontae Adams is getting held, he's getting jammed, hands to the face, right? Like, so not in addition to the space being created for Puka, the space being created for Whittington at times, or the tight ends. Like, it takes a lot just to one-on-one guard Devontae Adams, and he did set up that touchdown too. So absolutely deserves the credit. That back shoulder fade to him, like you said, on the left sideline, I think that was like a 3rd and 3 where he caught it, and you could tell he was a little pissed off, right? Like, he let off a little scream on the sideline. He was running by the Rams coaches, kind of like, I know we are going to be better. That play felt good for him. I know it did. All signs are pointing to this offense getting a whole lot better as the season progresses. Now, we're going to take another break here, but we got plenty more to talk about. We got a whole lot of comments in here. Keep them coming. We're going to be reacting to some of those comments live, as we always do. We also have to talk about what the week 1 win means with the Titans coming up next week. Great opportunity, like we're saying, to be 2-0 going into Philly. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more, again, on a victory edition, baby, of the Locked On Rams squad. We'll be right back. Now, today's show is also brought to you by Gametime. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans, cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout. It's frustrating. That's why I use Gametime. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I love the fact that Gametime knows what you want when you open up the app, right? You're in a rush. You're not trying to scroll through thousands and thousands of listings. Man, just show me the best deal in every section. I'll pick what section I want, and we'll get it over with, right? It filters out the fluff. It only shows you the best deals. They've got zone deals too, where you just pick the section, and it tells you, we're going to give you this seat in the section. You don't even need to figure it out. It's the best price. It's the best. It is the best. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Whose house? Rams house, baby. Throw up the W's because the Rams are 1-0. At times, it didn't look like that was going to be the case. The Rams fell behind 6-0 in this ball game. The Rams needed a stop at the end of the ball game to hold on to the 14-9 lead, and Landman got the job done. D-Mac, it's a great win, but what does it mean going forward, right? We've got the Titans next week. I know we all picked a win in that game. Certainly you don't change your thoughts there going into week 2. I don't know if you caught the Titans game. Obviously, they were playing the Broncos pretty tight, which a lot of people didn't really expect. But how are you feeling about next week?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in a couple episodes we've done so far. I mean, it's tough to count wins on that schedule. It is any given Sunday, as the cliche says. Any team can win. But I will say, though, my biggest takeaway for this offense is going up against that Titans secondary versus the Texans secondary. They're going to definitely feel a lot better about that. It's like it's like playing Madden on all Madden mode against like a professional Madden player versus like playing your brother in like rookie mode, right? Your little brother in rookie mode. It's going to feel like a nice little drop off. So I think it's a really good opportunity to get the passing game going a little more early. And then on top of that, it's more experience with Stafford and Devontae Adams against a lesser opponent. So I think that's kind of the big takeaway is that we're going to look back 8, 9, 10 games from now and say, wow, this is a really good Texans offense. And I see people out there, oh, there's an ugly win. No, like it was always going to be a gritty win. And I think these are games that maybe this Rams team loses in the past because you don't have a defense that can get a stop or a turnover like that. So I feel good about this win. And they got to show that they can win a couple different ways, right? Can you blow out teams with offense? Can you get big defensive stops? That's the mark of a good team. So the number one takeaway for me is that, yeah, this offense has a much better opportunity to get things going against a non-Texans team that is going to be a top 5 to 10 defense in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was plenty of ugly wins, right? Brock brought it up about how the defense has an advantage. It wasn't just our 14-9 game, but the Niners 17-13, right? The Bengals win 17-16 over the Browns. There's 21-6 for the Commanders over the Giants, right? There are low-scoring, ugly games. Vegas 20-13 over the Patriots. Cardinals, who DMAC is really high on, 20-13 over the lowly Saints, right? Like a lot of ugly football games. So absolutely. The Texans, like you said, D-Mac, before the show went live, they're going to win the AFC South still probably. You beat them. You're favored to win by 2.5 or whatever. You beat them by 5. It's a great win. And it doesn't matter if it's a great defensive win or a great offensive win. It's an impressive win, and you're 1-0. Brock, we talked a little bit about what 1-0 means. Does week 1 lie? Does week 1 reveal? Do you think this week 1 reveals what the Rams are? And what do you think the vibe is inside that locker room? What's Sean McVay saying to the team after this win, knowing the Titans might be kind of a trap game with the Eagles after that?
If anything, it revealed some things. It revealed some chemistry things that Matthew Stafford, Devontae have to work on. It revealed some things with the D-line, knowing that, they have to get some more pressure, things like that. But, it revealed some great teammates, some great team play with the defense coming along, doing what they have to do. A lot of people were worried about our secondary. They come out and, shut this passing game down. You have Dolak and you have Landman, showing up on the field today, winning the game today. So for me, man, it revealed some things about this team. And I think for me, I'm highly excited. If this is where I feel like our low game is, if this is where I feel like our bottom tier game is, I can't wait to see what the future holds for us.
Yeah,
that's a really good point. As far as if you could have one part of your defense gain confidence early from a game, you would probably pick the secondary, right? Because you know what you're going to get from the pass rush. The linebackers, they showed out, but it was the secondary holding CJ Stroud to less than 200 yards. You get the interception. Could have been 2, as you point out, Gavin. So for them to get confidence early on in the season and kind of establish those roles too, Kobe Durant's a dude in a walk year, right? I mean, he's trying to have his best season. So I think that's huge, because if this can be a better secondary and it complements the other groups on this defense, then you're really talking about a top 10 defense. I mean, you haven't had a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense on the Rams in the same season since 2001. That was one of my bold predictions, that you're going to get it this year. And this game, the flashes on offense with the flash on defense, you can say that that's something that could happen this year.
Yeah, and that certainly bodes well in terms of what the record's going to look like at the end of the season, how effective this team could be in the playoffs. And I also think there were some underlying metrics in this game that proved it was a strong performance, despite it maybe being 14-9, right? The fact that you go 7 of 13 on third down and hold the Texans to 2 of 9 on third down, very impressive, right? You outgain them in yards per play. You outgain them significantly through the air. Sure, they had you on the ground, but they ran the ball more times as well. Obviously, you win the turnover battle. That's always a great sign. It's again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you have to be satisfied. And that's why you've got people like, I wish I know there was a way you could tell me how to pronounce this name, but Mr. 69, I probably shouldn't say that. He says,
nice.
He says, Rams are winning the Super Bowl. Sell the house, sell the wife, sell the dog, and put it on Rams plus 2,000. Absolutely hilarious. Obviously, the vibes are going to be great. Like you said, D-Mac, there's going to be some people who say it's an ugly win, but the fan base is going to be excited after a win like this. I just had to point that out because that's absolutely hilarious. Are you selling the house too, D-Mac or Brock? What's going on?
Taking the wife's earrings, throwing in there, lean on the mortgage. Wait, I don't own a house, but if I did, lean on the mortgage. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. First game, you feel pretty good about it. I mean, I think that's a nice little look ahead by Muad'Dib 69, however you pronounce it. And we all feel very high on this team. So it's not like we saw something today that would change our overall outlook on the Rams. I think we saw what we needed to see. Like you point out, I mean, the third down conversion was big. I mean, if I told you that you were going to get Stafford going 21 for 29 with 245 yards, 1 touchdown, could have been a couple more, and there was rust. Like, let's be honest. Like, they were shaking off the rust in this game, and he still looked really good. I do think, though, one thing I'm looking for is what is the status of Kevin Dotson? Yeah. Because he left with an ankle injury in the first half, then he came back late in the second half, and then he was leaving, like going back and forth. So when Dotson went out of the game, Stafford took a sack right away. So that tells you need a healthy offensive line, because Avila, he came back as well. Bo Limmer was moved around the guard spot. So we saw it happen a couple years ago when they were decimated from an offensive line standpoint. A literal security guard took the job that came off the streets and was the offensive line for this team. So that's going to be big, is the health of that offensive line and keeping Matthew Stafford vertical. So the one thing that's preventing me from, putting it all in as Muad'Dib is I just need to see this team stay healthy on the line for long stretches. So that definitely pour a little cold water on this win for me was the Dotson injury.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think, I think we're all very high on this win and feeling great about it. But like you did mention at the beginning, I think it was DMAC, run game wasn't great, right? The run game, and we expected it to be great, right? We expected the interior of the Texans to kind of be their weakness. And I'm not concerned in the sense that I don't think it's going to get better. I certainly know it's going to get better. But when the run game kind of facilitates the offense as much as it does for Sean McVay and the Rams, you can't really wait 3 or 4 or 5 weeks for the run game. The same way you can wait for the 130-yard Devontae Adams performance. You can wait for that. But I don't know how many games the Rams can survive where the run game is not getting ahead of the sticks, right? Where if the O-line is hurt and there's the potential for sacks and getting behind the chains and everything, you need the run game to set up those play actions, to set up the motions and everything. So 18 for 66 for Kyren. It's not very efficient at all, right? Sub 4 yards a carry for him. I did think I expected a little bit more work from the other running back, Blake Corum, obviously not Jarquez Hunter, but were either of you surprised that Blake Corum just gets 1 carry for 2 yards in this ballgame?
I mean, I wasn't surprised, but when you look at the game, it's all about adjustments, man. So I can't say that the running game wasn't effective, because when I did see the running game, I seen them getting 4 or 5 yards. If you're getting 4 or 5 yards on first down, you like that. It makes second down much easier. 2nd and 5, 2nd and short, things like that. So for me, the running game wasn't explosive. Did we have an explosive play from the running game? No. But did they do a good job at when Kyren did get the ball, he moved forward. It wasn't a lot of tackles for loss or getting hit in the backfield. Every time I seen him, he was moving the pile at least 4 to 5 yards, getting that yardage. Obviously, you want to see more. Everybody wants to see more. That's the world we live in. But for me, I think the run game did just enough to work this game plan, because look at it. I mean, on the last play of the game, what did they run? They ran a play action. They ran a play action, held the linebackers in place because the running game was getting 4 to 5 yards, held them in place. Puka gets over the top. They seal the game with a play action pass. So for me, I thought the run game did just enough to be, a factor in this game. So it's all about adjustments. I've seen it was some plays in the game where I thought they should run the ball and they ran play action plays. So for me, I'm like, hey, man, it's all about adjustments, man. We don't know what's in that little mind of Sean McVay, but he knows what he's doing when he calls those plays.
Yeah, and the touchdown the third quarter, Davis Allen, when the Rams were trailing 9-7, that was a play action too to Kyren Williams. So, yeah, I mean, that's still keeping the defense honest. I totally agree, Brock. It wasn't eye-popping stuff from Kyren, but it was kind of like Kyren doing Kyren stuff, right? His longest run was for 9 yards. We didn't see him break those little chunkier ones that you sometimes see, like 16, 17-yard gainers and kind of moving the sticks like that. Other thing, too, I mean, we didn't really see a lot of Blake Corum. I mean, Gavin, what did he get? 1 carry? And we didn't see
1 carry for 2 yards. That's why I was surprised.
2 yards. So I think we're going to see as the season moves along, them lean on the running game a little more. I think Kevin Dotson exiting the game with the injury had a lot to do with that, because really he is their best offensive line when it comes to their duo scheme and just creating lanes and things like that. So it could have been a little bit of that as well. But yeah, I agree. I mean, you definitely need more from the running game. On the flip side too, 114 yards for the Texans, winning that run game advantage definitely was something that, yeah, you're breaking it all down. You're kind of counting the victories. That's something you definitely want to see a better showing for against Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, 2.9 yards per rush is the final stat line for the Rams, right? And that in a game or two, because of how great everything else was this, tonight or today, that's fine. But that is not sustainable, right? It really is not. I think the game really comes down to 11 penalties for 80 yards for the Texans. That's crazy. They had more turnovers, and of course, 0 for 3 in terms of turning field goals, what would be field goals or what were field goals, into what should have been touchdowns for the Texans, right? That's really what it came down to. I do also wonder a little bit about kind of the deep play ability and the fact that we saw that already from the Rams, and can we keep that going, right? maybe we know, like we're saying, Kyron is not going to break big runs. We're not going to get big runs from the run game. But a question DMAC was asking during the preview show was, with Devontae Adams, can the Rams turn 5-point wins into 10-point wins, into 14-point wins because of big plays, because of continued success? And while we didn't actually do it in this game, right, I felt like after that interception, you're up 14-9. It felt like a great opportunity to go up 21-9 and win the ball game. We did not do that, but still, Puka with a 25-yarder, Devontae for 24, Xavier Smith, like you said, a 36-yard catch, even Blake Corum and Davis Allen with catches of 14 and 13. So the big plays were there from the passing game to make up from the inefficiencies in the running game. And that luckily was enough to get the dub. But we're going to take our last break. When we do, I think we've got to give a little bit of credit to a couple other guys on the defense, right? We talked about Landman. We talked about the front seven, but I thought we had a great performance from Cam Curl. I thought he was all over the field in this one. So we'll talk about that. And then I also want to look forward a little bit more to the rest of the season after this week 1 win. We'll do all of that after our final break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Now, finally, today's show is brought to you by Upside. You've heard me talk about it, Rams fans. Angels fans have heard me. UCLA fans, although I don't want to talk about that right now. But you've all heard me ask, are you paying full price for gas? If so, you need to stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. Now, look, at first I thought it was way too good to be true. Come on now. But it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code TOUCHDOWN. Disclaimer, offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Back here live, baby. 1-0 edition. 1-0 edition of the Rams Squad Show. Rams 14, Texans 9. I'll be honest, Mob Squad, I feel like I've done a lot of yapping, okay? I feel like I get this like pseudo host role, and right? What do you want to talk about? I want one of you to just take the lead. Maybe Big Brock can just say, Gavin, shut up. I'm the guy who played. I don't know if you saw that spat with Ryan Clark and Peter Schrager on NFL Network, and he said, hey, that sounded like something that someone who doesn't play football would say, and then that became an issue. Hey, as someone who didn't play, I'm not offended if Brock tells me, Gavin, shut up. You've never played a snap in your life. Here's what I think. What you got, Brock? Well, anything you want to say about this win or disagree with anything I said?
Man, no, I mean, if we do want to tip our hats, man, I mean, I think the Texans D-line came to play, man. Let's not, I mean, if that was anything towards why the running game was the way it was because the Texans D-line came to play, man. Interior-wise, we thought those guys, we didn't really, know that Rankins and these guys were going to handle the interior of the Rams line like that. So for me, the defensive line for the Texans showed up today. And I think that might have to do with a little bit of the factor of why the Rams didn't have a run game that we thought we should have. But for the most part, man, I think, I'll repeat what we said earlier, man. This is game 1 of the season. Yeah, like game 1, we say, do they lie or not? I think it definitely revealed some things that we need to work on. But, I mean, if you're getting a game where you're winning in situations, you're getting turnovers, you're getting big plays by the defense, big plays by the offense. Like, they weren't eye-popping, as Doug would say, but, I mean, they were there. They were there. So seeing Puka get open, seeing Devontae get some passes down the field, seeing the defense get some turnovers, man, it shows that this Rams team is a complete team. And when they put it all together, it's going to be scary. In the middle of the season, I will have to come back to this show to see if I put my foot in my mouth. But, man, for the most part, man, I'm very excited about this team. I think this team can go all the way. I don't know about selling the wife and selling the house, but for sure, I definitely think this team can go a long way in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, certainly. I think I totally agree. I mean, we saw what this team has the potential to be, and I love the fact that this team gets its first win of the season behind their defense. And I think that if that's their identity, I'm totally fine with that. And because we know that if Stafford picks his spots, I mean, he's a guy who entered the 60,000 yard club today, right? I mean, the fastest ever with Matt Ryan. I mean, this guy has put up numbers, so he doesn't need to prove that, right? He doesn't need to go out there and throw for 300, 400 yards, right? He's made all the money. He's done all the winning. He's got that already unlocked. So if this is a team that is a little more on that side of the ball or it's balanced, I like that. I will say, like, we're at the point of after the game where all the excitement and joy and happiness of a win kind of like goes away from me. I'm already just thinking about the negative stuff and like what should I hate on first? And I will say it really broke me a little bit when Troy Reeder had that holding penalty on that kick return from Jordan Whittington. I mean, there were some plays right there. I mean, a couple of penalties. And as you point out, this is a team that, I mean, averaged less than 6 penalties a game. And today, a little uncharacteristic. I mean, thankfully, the Rams were able to pull that one out. The roughing call was pretty bogus, but we did see more penalties than we usually do see with this Rams team. And I know that that's something that they're going to want to really clean up and take a look at. But yeah, you mentioned Cam Curl. I mean, like guys like Cam Curl and Byron Young and Kobe Durant, like we've spread the whole offseason talking about Braden Fisk and Jared Verse and Kobe Turner, and other guys stepped up and made the big play. So it shows that this isn't a defense that just has 1 or 2 stars and the rest are role players. There's a lot of talent on this defense, and guys are still emerging. So I think that's something that I think is going to spread around the league too, is like, hey, everyone's talking about the Rams offense, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. You need to start talking about the Rams defense as one of the better defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, Byron Young, of course, everyone thinks of him as the sack guy, the TFL guy, but 9 tackles? 9 tackles, Byron Young. I did a quick scan, and I believe the highest he had last season in a game was 8. That was pretty impressive, right? Cam Curl with 10 to lead the whole team, 8 solos.
And also dropping.
He stopped the draft. He completely halted a Texans drive there. He had a 13-yard loss when he sacked C.J. Stroud at the beginning of the second quarter. I mean, when you make plays like that, Brock, it's got to feel awesome. Like the drive's over with a play like that when you make a play like that, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, for me, I thought the mix-up with him being in coverage as well, to me, he's a big guy. He should always be rushing. But to see him out there covering guys and, knocking the ball out and things like that, I was like, this is highly impressive. Guy this big, moving like that in space and things like that. So, and he also had 2 sacks. So you never know. And I love that fact of, having a guy that can drop in the coverage, because you never know when he's going to be rushing off the edge. So I think that's going to give a little surprising factor when it comes to this Rams defense. Is you never know when Byron Young is going to be rushing the passer, or is he dropping. So offense is going to have to key in and know when he's rushing or not. Then on the other side you have Jared Verse, and Brandon Fisk and Kobe Turner. So like once these guys get to clicking, man, I'm very excited for the Rams.
For sure. Do you guys, by the way, know like Byron Young's story, like how when he was at Georgia Military Academy before he transferred to Tennessee, he was actually the assistant manager at a Dollar General. Like that kind of stuff is crazy to me. Like that's like, hey, get the Hollywood script out. Another thing I want to ask you too is like, how do you get that tattoo that's not a tattoo? It's like he's like branded.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like how do you do that? Like you just
that's
like
the frat tat, right?
Does the tattoo dude do that? Like where do you get that? Because that's when I see dudes with that, I don't even make eye contact. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the kind of dudes that like will absolutely destroy you. So like my point is like this guy's an assassin out there. You know what I mean? Like Byron Young's that dude. Like he's hyper athletic. He's been through a lot, and it's great to see him have this success in year 3.
Man, I love to see it. I mean, to that tattoo, man, that's definitely a moment where you don't know what a guy went through to get that tattoo. I just knew he was highly intoxicated. To get something like that, you can't get it, be in your right mind getting branded. So for me, man, yeah, a guy like that is always crazy.
He wakes up like it's the Hangover. Like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. It's sticking out. Yeah, that's hilarious. I'm dead. But yeah, he played tough. Very impressive performance by him and really the whole defense at all. So got to feel great. Do want to look around the league a little bit. I do think it's kind of fun. Of course, you got to start in the division first. D-Mac's Cardinals. I'm pushing that narrative that D-Mac is the Cardinals truther here. They squeaked out a win against the Saints 20-13. I don't know if you saw that game, but second to last play of the game, Spencer Rattler throws one to Juwan Johnson. Would have been a game-tying touchdown, just barely falls out of his hands. I didn't think the Cardinals looked very impressive. Obviously, the Saints are no good, but they do pick up a win on the road, so you got to give them their credit. And then it sounds like you were watching, Doug, that Niners Seattle game closely. 17-13. I did not watch a second of that game, I'll be honest. Was this a matter of two teams where the offenses weren't good? Was it rusty? How did C-Mac look? Give me a quick summary of that game, D-Mac, because I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a little defensive battle there early on in the season. I think Darnold looked like okay. Purdy looked okay. The big thing for that Niners team is we'll see what the status is of George Kittle. He left the game with a hamstring injury. So it kind of makes you wonder, will the 49ers have that same issue this year as guys staying healthy? So I wasn't overly impressed with the 49ers. I really wasn't. I think Pearsall made some good plays. I think he could have a big year for sure. Nick Bosa made the big play at the end. But, yeah, I mean, I do think, going back to your Cardinals thing, Kyler had some pretty solid moments. Marvin Harrison Jr. looked a little better today. But I think the takeaway is that the Rams clearly are the most balanced team in the NFC West. I mean, they truly, truly are. And I think that if you watch all those games today and you saw the Rams, there's no doubt that they should be the favorites in this division.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then even, division one thing, but NFC as a whole, right? I thought everyone was pretty surprised at how lackluster maybe the Eagles looked for a majority of that game against the Cowboys. The Lions got thumped, right? I don't think anybody expected that. So is it Rams, Packers, Eagles, those are the three now to win the NFC? I don't know. Maybe, obviously, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night when you get to see the other two great teams in the NFC North. Maybe great's a little bit of an exaggeration, but the Vikings and the Bears should be interesting tomorrow night. But certainly I think NFC West at the minimum, but maybe NFC as a whole, the Rams come out as one of the better, the winners of week one. And that's exactly what you want, especially after how last year went. Also, I thought the Falcons losing at home to Tampa was an interesting one as well. But just quickly, before we wrap this one up, shout out to everybody in here. Like BC says, this is a 1 hour post-game show. So, we're putting in the work. We got Brock. He's at some sort of party. He's throwing up the broadcast behind him. He's being the ultimate professional. We know D-Mac is doing 18 things at a time. I'm in Sacramento right now, in a house I've never been in before. So we're all making it work for you guys. If you appreciate it, hit the like button, comment.
That's the former capital of California. That's our former capital, right? Because Shaquille O'Neal said that Los Angeles is the capital of California. So that used to be the capital of California. It's not that anymore.
I love
That's
it.
what Shaq said. LSU, great, like Brock.
There you go. There you go. And you're talking about alma maters, D-Mac.
Nah, dude.
Did we go to UCLA? I don't know. I'm wearing the shirt, but oh man, it's just brutal. It's brutal.
I'm taking some online classes. I'm gonna sign up for some online class at Ohio State or something. Like, you know what I mean? Just to change I ain't doing it. All right, we're not talking about this. Losing at UNLV, I'm out.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck, man.
Who does LSU play? LSU plays Florida this week, right?
They play Florida this week.
That's gonna be pretty good. In Baton Rouge. Yeah.
Who just lost? Florida just lost to USF.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get to that game if possible.
Yes, sir. That'll be a fun one. That'll be a fun one. Shout out to Coach Art saying he loves the show. Shout out to all of you. It's going to be a lot of fun reacting to every single game. Obviously, I was doing the post game shows last year just by myself. They were 20 minutes. This is a whole lot better. An hour with the Mob Squad, with everybody in here. So if you haven't already somehow, I don't know how, you're looking at D-Mac, you're looking at Brock, those are two handsome fellas. I don't know how the heck you haven't hit the subscribe button yet. So make it happen. Make it happen. We'll be back here on Thursday, as we will be doing throughout the year with the midweek show, previewing that game against the Titans. One more thing, too. I just read that Cam Ward got sacked 6 times. So we'll talk about it on the preview show, but over under like 6 sacks next week with this D-line, we might quickly see a turnaround, Brock, and the D-line might be eaten tomorrow or next week.
Yes, sir. Rubbing my hands together. Anytime you see that, rubbing my hands together.
It's time. I love it. But shout out to everybody. Again, leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. We will be back here on Thursday, and then we will be back here post-game after hopefully a 2-0 start. Ram Squad, Mob Squad, Whose House, Rams House, Locked On Ram Squad Show. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. I'm 3-0 in fantasy this week, too, so it doesn't get any better than that. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you back here on Thursday. Go Rams, baby.
Peace.